Who's Afraid of Public Space is a multifaceted project which explores the role of public culture, the contested nature of public space, and the character and composition of public life.
Who's Afraid of Public Space takes place here at ACCA over summer, but it also extends into public space. Events and exhibitions take place in public space, and they also take place at our cultural partners.
The exhibition is inspired by and seeks to animate recent debates around politics of land and place, gentrification and social and urban transformation, and indeed the incursion of private interests into the public sphere.
ACCA's 4 galleries have been designed to consider the role of ACCA as a civic institution and as a platform for education, reflection, discovery. The keynote commission for this exhibition is the Gathering Space. The Gathering Space has been designed for public programs by Woonwurrung elder Nawi Carolyn Briggs and Palawa built environment designer Sarah Lynn Rees.
The space we've designed is called Nagi Jambana, and it's a research-led design exhibition that asks the question, if our public spaces were made from the materials of country, what would those materials be? There are over 55 different items in the exhibition, from timbers to stones, to minerals, to sands, to water, to glass, each of which are in either their raw form or their refined form, how we would see them in the built environment.
It was a collaboration between Sarah and myself in understanding the biosphere of Victoria, understanding the negotiations and the transactional relationship between country, people and community. It's about the built environment that this place we now know as Melbourne was built on.
We want people to start to understand the country that's around them and question, if they're standing in the middle of the street, whose country are the buildings made from, whose country are they standing on? Obviously they're standing in the country that they're in, but the materials might not be from that place, and what does that mean?
One gallery is dedicated to ACCA's education space, designed by ACCA's educator Andrew Atchison. This space is really dedicated to thinking about making art in public.
What's in here is a hybrid mini exhibition of propositional works and artefacts from public artworks, a studio, so students who come to ACCA during the exhibition can make their own propositional public artworks, and there's also space for student artworks to be displayed during the exhibition. Public space for me in an artistic context is a complex combination of challenges and opportunities. So artists can realise all sorts of huge and complex works, but there's also a really large number of diverse stakeholders. So it's a dynamic thing.
The Reading Space Common Room was designed by Nicola Cortese, Stephanie Parnas and Lauren Crockett. These designers were invited to reflect on the idea of a library and to create a space for meetings and small gatherings.
The core intention of the room was for it to be this really welcoming, soft and sort of slow place for people to spend more time and engage with the books, but at the same time, all of the kind of formal and colourful elements of the room act as informal guides as to how you might use the space, but there's no kind of explicit how-to guide. It's meant to be a place that people can work out how they want to use it themselves and how much time they want to spend here.
The physical room itself was designed to be able to adapt to different uses, so it kind of acts as a library, but also a space for reading circles and discussions. Space is a kind of little breakout room as well.
A gallery can feel like it's usually a place where you don't touch and don't move things, but we really encourage whoever comes into the room to pick up the chairs, move them around into a circle with your mates, grab the books, make the space your own, because that's the whole point.
The project space, the hoarding, which you see behind me, was designed by Sibling Architecture. This space is intended to gather all of the projects that take place in the public realm and at our cultural institution partners to encourage visitors to ACCA back out into the public.
The hoarding is constructed of different construction materials that you'll find in the city, but also at the local hardware store as well. Each different material is used in relationship to a different type of artwork, whether it be 2D, 3D or 4D. The purpose of that was not only to bring together these artworks from all over the city, but also it means that we could return these installation elements back into the city as well.
The 16 projects curated by ACCA off-site include karaoke in the public park, street posters and billboards, a film screening in a car park, and chalk drawing on the steps of Parliament House.
My name's Stephen Rawle and I'm an artist operating on Wadawurrung country. My work for Who's Afraid of Public Space is entitled Aboriginal Land SSID. In being based as a gesture, it's not one that's necessarily viewed as such. You might see Aboriginal land upon your available Wi-Fi networks if you're at ACCA. When thinking of land and territory, we're commonly thinking of geographies and topographies and where places start and end. The work for me is somewhat an assertion that Aboriginal land extends above and below us in any form that for an Aboriginal person perhaps makes most sense to them.
8 further related off-site events include projects developed with or by our cultural partners.
My name's John Campbell and I'm an artist based in Coburg in Melbourne. My work for Who's Afraid of Public Space is a 40-metre long vinyl print and it has the text, "Your best is good enough for me." The text is not trying to sell you anything or, I'm not advertising anything in particular other than an idea of if you do your best then I'm okay with that, or what might be your best.
My name is Michael Candy. I am a Melbourne-based artist. Persistence of Vision is a networked array of 10 interactive spotlights disguised as CCTV cameras. I'm 30 years old, and during my lifetime there's been this sort of accepting surveillance and almost inviting surveillance, like paying for luxury goods that actually track your health or your fitness. And every time it gets leaked that these things are spying on us, like no one seems to care.
My name's Larissa Kozlov. I'm an artist who works in Naarm, in Melbourne.
If you want to walk around leisurely chatting, then go outside.
This work is called Public Announcements 2. It's a series of announcements that I've written and professionally recorded with a voice actress that are broadcast along the speakers that run from Hamer Hall to the Arts Centre.
I've been out of the pavement sharing world for a while now.
There's this polished professional voice that we hear in a subliminal way in the public realm anyhow, and I'm imitating that voice in this work.
If you see an old friend, try not to bore them and others.
My name is David Waddleton and I'm an artist working with photo media. My work for Who's Afraid of Public Space is a selection of about 60 photographs taken predominantly in the last 10 years mostly that illustrate the kind of demographic change and gentrification of the Northcote area. Portraits of people who've run family businesses for their entire life, staples of the local area. And these photographs are arranged in a grid in some shops down High Street. On the one hand, it refers to the grids of Burnden Hill at Becca and so forth, but also, ironically, if you weren't paying particular attention, you might think that they actually are real estate photographs until you stop and see that they're not. 385. It's a little bit of a potted history of the area, through my eyes anyway.
Over the past 2 years, the pandemic has radically altered our relationship to public space. And it's been really interesting to see the way that our communities have embraced public space in new ways, have improvised in public space differently, introducing new modes of behaviour into public space. These are really important, argue for shared resources of public realm and the digital commons.